If you knew gummy candy was made from animal bones and skin, would you still want to eat it? It might sound strange, but it's true. According to the Gelatin Manufacturers Institute of America, in 2021 alone, Americans consumed around 60,000 tons of gelatin, mostly from gummy candy, marshmallows, and pudding. And most of that gelatin doesn't come from where you might expect. Think gummy candy isn't an American invention. It originated in Germany in the 1920s when a candy maker named Hans Riehl created what we now know as the Haribo gummy bear. From a small workshop in Bonn, he turned gummy candy into a global phenomenon. By the 1980s, gummy candy officially entered the US market, and since then it's become a staple on every snack aisle. At the factory, the process starts by mixing the key ingredients: sugar, corn syrup, water, flavorings, food coloring, and of course, gelatin. Gelatin is the main texturizing agent. It gives gummy candy its signature chewiness and elasticity. And just like you heard at the start of this video, it's not a plant-based ingredient like many people think. Most commercial gelatin is extracted from pigskin, cow bones, and sometimes fish parts left over from the slaughtering process. For some, it's a smart way to reduce waste. For others, the idea of eating a sweet treat made from animal bones and skin is still hard to swallow. Some argue that gelatin should be more clearly labeled for health, religious, or simply right-to-know reasons. Equally controversial is the food coloring, the stuff that gives each candy its bright, eye-catching look. In the US, colors like Red 40, Yellow 5, and Blue 1 are approved by the FDA for use in food, including gummy candy. However, in Europe, some of these substances are more tightly regulated or even require warning labels, especially when marketed to children. The food industry says it's all within safe limits, but some studies and consumer groups want a closer look at the long-term effects. So what do you think? If the candy still tastes the same but looks a little less colorful, would it matter to you? Once the gummy mixture is fully blended and reaches the right hot, syrupy consistency, it moves to the molding stage. Every gummy candy starts with a mold. But surprisingly, they don't use plastic or metal molds like many assume. Instead, most factories still use starch molds. It may sound old-fashioned, but it's actually an extremely efficient method used in industrial production. Cornstarch is packed into thick trays. Then, a stamping machine prints the desired shape from bears and fruits to worms, creating rows of precise, hollow impressions. The hot gummy mixture is automatically poured into each mold. This entire step is fast, with high precision in temperature, volume, and pouring speed. Why use starch molds? There are three main reasons. Starch molds are still preferred, even with modern plastic mold technology. First, cornstarch can withstand high heat and doesn't warp when exposed to the 70 to 90 degrees Celsius mixture. Second, starch absorbs some of the moisture from the mixture, helping the candy set faster and hold its chewy texture. Third, after each batch, the starch is sifted and reused, cutting cost and saving time while still meeting hygiene standards. So, while it may seem outdated, starch molds remain a simple, effective solution, shaping millions of gummy candies every day. After molding, the gummies are removed and sent through a cooling tunnel. Here, the temperature is kept around 18 to 24 degrees Celsius to let the candy cool gradually, avoiding heat shock that can cause warping, cracking, or uneven texture. Manufacturers apply an ultra-thin coating of edible wax, usually beeswax, carnauba wax, or vegetable oil. Among these, carnauba, extracted from Brazilian palm leaves, is the most common. It's colorless, odorless, edible, and FDA approved for food use. It only takes about 0.1% of the candy's weight, but this layer makes the surface smooth, dry, non-sticky, and most importantly, keeps gummies from clumping during packaging. For certain products, especially sour gummies or tropical fruit gummies, the coating is a layer of crystallized sugar or sugar acid mix instead of wax. This sugar coating not only adds flavor but creates a light crunch when you bite into the gummy. Now the gummies are ready for the final step: packaging. They're funneled through weighing machines, accurately dividing them into 100 gram, 150 gram, or 250 gram bags depending on market requirements. Then comes the heat sealing, batch coating, expiry date printing, and boxing. A modern packaging line can handle 150 to 200 bags per minute, translating to millions of gummies packed every week, sent to supermarkets, convenience stores, and retail outlets across the US. Marshmallows still use gelatin, but what gives them their signature texture isn't what you'd expect. Marshmallows still use gelatin, but what gives them their signature texture isn't what you'd expect. It's not the sugar, it's not the gelatin. It's something no one really thinks of as food. In fact, marshmallows can be made of up to 60% air, which means basically you're eating air. Wait. The name marshmallow comes from the marshmallow plant, a plant that grows in marshes, which was once used as a folk medicine in ancient Egypt. The plant's root contains a natural mucilage, which was extracted and beaten with honey to create the first version of marshmallow. By the 19th century, the production method changed entirely. The plant's root was replaced with gelatin, which was cheaper, easier to store, and provided a more stable texture. From there, marshmallow gradually became a popular sweet associated with campfires, s'mores, and even American snack culture. If you found this content helpful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to follow our next videos. The process begins with soaking gelatin in water. The gelatin is placed into the stand mixer and soaked for about 15 minutes to absorb water and fully expand. This is an important step for the gelatin to activate its binding properties and form the structure of the marshmallow. During this time, workers prepare a mixture of sugar, corn syrup, and a small amount of water. Sugar provides the main sweetness, while corn syrup helps control crystallization, keeping the mixture soft, elastic, and preventing it from drying out as it cools. The mixture is heated to 240 degrees Fahrenheit, about 115 degrees Celsius, which corresponds to the soft ball stage, a key temperature point in candy making. Once the syrup mixture reaches the proper temperature, the worker turns on the stand mixer at low speed and slowly pours the hot syrup into the expanded gelatin. Pouring slowly and continuously helps avoid thermal shock and ensures the mixture blends smoothly. After all the syrup is added, the mixer speed is gradually increased. This process incorporates air into the mixture, creating millions of tiny air bubbles. These bubbles give the marshmallow its light, soft, and fluffy texture. At this stage, the gelatin acts like a supporting net, holding the air bubbles in place. Thanks to this, the marshmallow retains its volume and doesn't collapse after whipping. When the mixture turns opaque white and begins to thicken, vanilla is added for aroma. The whipping speed is then raised to a high level, 2,000 to 3,500 RPM, making the mixture smooth, uniform, and light. The result, the mixture doubles in volume, with about 50 to 60% of it consisting of air.